Hello, RWorld, and welcome back to another episode of RWorldTalk. We are lucky enough to have Miss Crystal Stiles here. She is the Executive Director of Development for FPL. Welcome, Crystal.
Thanks so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm excited to see what you have to fill us in on today. I noticed that every time I go to an event, it seems like FPL is one of the sponsors, whether that be a realtor event, a community event. We just did the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce about a month ago, and FPL seems to always be in a program as some sort of a presenting sponsor. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that to get started?
Well, thanks for that great question. FPL has been around for almost 100 years now, and this is where we live, it's where we work. It's really important to us that we're part of our community, and so that is why we make these investments across the state, to make sure that we're supporting the right things and that we're accessible to our customers, and a lot of those places that you just named give us access to our customers. Awesome.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for supporting the communities. That's certainly in line with us as realtors as well, so I think this is going to be a very fitting conversation.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we'll jump right into it because I heard something new that FPL has going on. So FPL has been an innovator and pioneer in the energy and tech space for years. I was not surprised to hear the news that you have a new venture that you're tackling in the EV market. So can you tell us a little bit about FPL's Evolution home service?
Sure. Well, so I would say, first of all, innovation is part of our DNA. It is something that dates back to 1925 when we first launched our company. And it is really something that is expected of all of us as FPL employees, that we're innovating to make sure that we're always thinking about what's around the corner, that we're implementing technologies that are customer focused. So, clean, reliable, affordable energy is our mantra, and that's our promise to our customers. And it is these innovations that allow us to deliver on that every day. And so back in 2019, we saw this trend around the corner, if you will, of electric vehicles, and recognized that the utility had a role to play in that, because all of a sudden we're moving from a place of one type of fuel to electric vehicles being powered by the grid. And so we wanted to make sure we were thinking about that and being intentional about it. And so today we offer holistic solutions for EV drivers.
Okay.
We started back in 2019 with public charging stations, and that was really because people needed to be comfortable that they could get from Miami to Jacksonville, like they're used to, or on a family vacation in their EV before they were going to purchase one. And so that was really our first foray into EV charging, was to make these investments so that people felt comfortable buying EVs, adopting electric vehicle technology, and driving them.
Okay.
And so what we've seen since then is adoption has just gone crazy. And
it really has.
You can't be on the road today without seeing, and it's not just Tesla anymore. It's lots of different types: Audi, BMW, Nissan, Ford, GM. They've all made investments in the EV space. And so as we started looking at the data, we realized that 85% or so of charging actually happens at home. The average American only drives 40 miles a day. And so you really don't need to charge your EV more than home and maybe sometimes work. And so last summer we launched Evolution Home, which is a way to make it really easy for our customers to charge in their garages. Okay. It's if you have a 240 volt connection already in your garage, it's $31 a month. If you don't, it's $38 a month, but we make it a fully turnkey process. We show up with an installer and all the equipment that you need to get you started, and you're able to charge at home.
So when we're talking about 240, not everybody knows the difference between 110, 240, that sort of thing. So that 240, is that like the stove plug, or what are we talking? Where does that type of energy come from?
It's like a dryer plug.
A dryer plug.
So the plug that powers your dryer is essentially what you would need in your garage. But like I say, it's not a big deal if you don't have one. We have installers that are perfectly qualified to come and install one. It just costs you just a little bit. A little bit more.
So you guys know a thing or two about electricity?
A little bit.
Okay. So I'm not surprised to see that the EV sales are changing. I was not a person that ever thought that I would even consider an electric vehicle. When they came out, I was it just didn't seem like the thing for me. But now I look at my parking lot. I'm a real estate broker. I look at the parking lot at my office, and we have several electric vehicles. I've got agents that drive Teslas. My business partners both went electric. One's driving a Hyundai, the other one's driving a Mercedes. I drive a big old gas guzzling truck, but Maybe we'll get there one day. We'll get to the EV.
There's electric trucks too.
There is. Yeah, one of my agents actually had the first Ford Lightning in the state of Florida, and they offered him a lot of money for that and gave him a free truck to give it back.
Wow.
Funny story. We'll talk about that off camera. Okay. So, but EV vehicles, obviously, on a national average, the sales just keep going higher and higher and higher. So are you seeing that there might be a significant change, sort of disruption in the market, that we're going to have a lot more people moving over to electric vehicles in the near future?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Florida is already the second largest in the country for EVs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we are.
I would say outside of California?
Yeah.
Really?
We're still pretty far behind California, but we're very far ahead of Texas and the other states that trail us. So Floridians are driving electric vehicles. It's still really only about 1.2% or so of the total vehicles on our roads, but that's changing a lot. And that's really sort of in line with the nation. It's about 1% nationwide. But we think about 1 in 4 vehicles will be electric by 2027. So significant adoption.
Is there a change that you guys need to do with like internal infrastructure, or what's happening with like the power lines and all that sort of thing?
Well, these things definitely connect to the grid. And so we do have to be mindful of that. But, we've been blessed in Florida for many, many years. About 1,000 people move here every day. You as realtors know that. You benefit from that.
Yep.
And so we've taken a very proactive stance to planning our grid and ensuring that it's ready to meet the future need, because you can't just decide you're going to build a power plant if you have to. You can't upgrade transmission systems or substations overnight. And so we have historically looked out 10 years. Every year we look another 10 years. So it's on a rolling 10-year basis. And we use the data and whatever's in the market that's moving the consumption of energy one way or the other. We use that data to help us plan for all of our grid infrastructure, all the way down to the smallest line and to the smallest house. We're paying attention to that and making sure that we're ready for all this growth.
So the charging stations that we're talking about, are these going to power any type of electric vehicle? Or if you own a Tesla, do you still have to get the Tesla charger? If you're buying a Hyundai, is there a different charger that you need? Or is this all encompassing?
Our chargers will power, I would say, most vehicles. I feel pretty confident in saying all vehicles. Just some may need an adapter. So, this is still a fairly nascent industry, right? It's very new. There's a lot of change happening. There's a lot of startups in the space. There hasn't been consensus on the type of connector, I would say. So if you're out charging, if you know somebody with an EV, you might see a different plug. There's probably 3 in the market right now. And so you may need an adapter. A Tesla plug, it's called a NACS, NACS, looks a little different than what a BMW, a GM, a Ford have right now. Although a lot of those automakers have announced that in the future, post 2025, their vehicles will have that NACS Tesla adapter as well. So we're starting to see consolidation. The important thing to know is that all of our chargers, whether it's our public charging fleet, or if you're a commercial entity and you're electrifying your fleet or your home vehicle, they're all adaptable with whatever plug that you have.
So we're not talking about Apple versus Android.
No. You might have one little adapter that's about this big that might have to go on the end of your charger to make it work in your vehicle, but it's not a problem.
Hey, if we're charging, that's all we care about.
That's exactly right.
So realtors, obviously, we're always looking for the latest trends on how to put their clients in the right home. So we talked about some of the key, we talked about the charging equipment and if it's going to work for all EV vehicles, but what are some key selling points for realtors? And do you think that this service is going to drastically increase the client's energy bill, or does it not really cost a lot to charge your electric vehicle at home?
Well, if you have the FPL Evolution program, it doesn't cost you more than $38 a month, because that includes the charger and unlimited off-peak energy, which is a fancy word for saying nights and weekends. Sometimes I feel like I'm an AT&T cell phone salesman from the 80s, but it really is, we're looking at how can we encourage people to charge at times when we have excess energy on the grid that we're making it anyway. So we'd like to have folks consuming it. And so that's how we're able to give you such a great price on that. So the way that it works today is you pull into your garage, you plug in at 5:15 or 6:15 or whatever time you get home. Your car does not immediately start charging. It starts charging at 9 o'clock or at 10 o'clock in the evening when FPL goes off peak. And then it will be done in the morning by the time you wake up.
Air conditioner running like crazy.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. By then people are starting to go to bed, the load is starting to stabilize. And so then you don't have to think about it. There's an app that we leverage that your car automatically starts charging and then it stops charging when it's full. So it's a really simple way of adding a ton of value, and it's isolated from your energy bill, so it doesn't add energy consumption.
Okay.
Now, if you charge during the middle of the day, it will add there, but you would have to physically override that. So I think this is a tremendous value that realtors can provide to their clients in helping them understand what's in their garage and what they might need in their garage. And
right.
I've even talked to a few realtors about, what a cool closing gift would that be, right? A subscription to FPL's Evolution program because they know their client might have an EV. So right. If you see that 240 volt in the garage, that's a clear indicator that the home is probably EV ready. Okay. And if you don't, just knowing about FPL's Evolution solution being a really easy way to add value to your clients will adapt any home to being ready for an electric vehicle.
Okay. So even if they don't have the 240, somebody's going to take care of that for us.
That's right.
Okay. So you guys heard that right here on RWorldTalk. You can get them a closing gift. If you know that they're driving an electric vehicle and that's what's stopping them from purchasing the home, don't worry about it. Call Crystal and her team. They're going to take care of this whole thing. You're going to have your home EV ready. That's awesome news. I didn't realize that it was so easy to do that. And certainly what a great selling feature as well for somebody, even if they don't have an electric vehicle in their home. So let me ask you this. Is it transferable? If a buyer goes and hooks this up in their home, can the new buyer just take over that service? Or what if that new buyer does not have an electric vehicle? Can they shut the service off until the time that they do?
So you can definitely terminate the service.
Okay.
We are working on transferability. So all of these programs we launch are regulated by the Public Service Commission.
Okay.
We have a lot of rules that we need to follow as a regulated utility, and we launched this as a pilot. And so these initial, few thousand customers that we have launched with have taught us a lot, and they've taught us about how we can make the program better. So we're looking right now at transferability. That's definitely an important feature.
That'd be a good innovation.
It would be a good innovation. Send me all your ideas for innovation. I love it.
Okay. Let me ask you one other thing. So South Florida, obviously a hotspot for people to buy a condo, live on the water. We're talking high rises, or maybe downtown and some of our metro areas. Do you have any sort of systems in place to cater to that market? And are there any plans on taking this into the commercial space or the workplace?
Yes, so I definitely want to talk about commercial, so remind me to come back to that if I forget.
No problem.
But on the multi-unit dwelling, condos, apartments, huge number of Floridians live in those types of facilities. And right now our program only works in single-family homes.
Okay.
And there's lots of reasons for that, not the least of which is you need to have a really strong Wi-Fi connection to be able to talk to the smart charger so that it knows when to charge and how to take advantage of those off-peak systems.
And a lot of times when we're in a parking garage, our Wi-Fi is not working.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Or there's lots of other complications that come with parking garages. There's, building managers don't want to move vehicles that are done charging so that other people can come and charge. And so you really sort of need assigned parking spaces.
Okay.
And then there are rules around condo association rules around who can build infrastructure in the common spaces and other things. So it's a complicated, challenging potential future innovation that we're looking at.
Okay.
But right now, the best thing that we tell folks who live in condos and apartments is to take advantage of our public charging infrastructure, which is across the state of Florida. We're in the process of building about 1,000 charging ports and 250 locations. So you should never be more than 20 or 30 miles from an Evolution charger. Okay. And in our dense urban areas, you'll be much less than that. You'll be much closer, and that's a good way to repower if you don't have a charger at your workplace or other things. But as we think about charging holistically, that's certainly something that we need to try to figure out. It's just a very customized solution.
Okay. And where are we finding those?
What's that?
Where are we finding those charging stations? Are they like in public parking garages? Are we finding them at the mall? Where is this infrastructure located currently?
So you should download the Evolution app. It's FPL Evolution. There's an app that will navigate you to your closest charging infrastructure. It's mostly on highways, 95, the Turnpike, in FPL territory, you will always find them.
Gotcha.
But they are in other areas that have amenities because, this is important for business owners to know. 90 to 95% of people make a purchase when they stop to charge. So a lot of shopping centers want these chargers as an amenity because it's going to draw people in. They're going to spend more time and they're going to shop and spend money.
Right. Yeah. If you need 30 minutes, that gives you enough time to go buy a couple pairs of shoes.
That's exactly right. Okay. That's exactly right.
Okay. So let's get into the commercial space.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge area as, municipalities and other commercial businesses think about electrifying their fleet. I mean, FPL's in the process of electrifying 60% of our light duty fleet.
Okay.
Just by 2035, I think is our target for that one. So, we're making these investments, and then where do you charge these things? And so we want to make it just as easy for you if you have a fleet as if you have a home.
Okay.
And so we can fully turnkey install all the equipment, and we just bill you back on your FPL bill over 10 years. So if you don't want to write a big check for charging infrastructure up front, we take care of all the permitting, all the electrical upgrades that might need to happen because it is going to be additional load at your building. And we always help our customers to think through, what does that look like? Do I have enough load? Do I need to make some upgrades? But we try to make that fully turnkey and easy for you too.
Okay. Well, I hope our RCA group, our commercial realtors, are all listening in right now, because as you guys go and find people these big industrial spaces, warehouse spaces, whatever we need, Crystal and her team can take care of making sure that they've got the infrastructure in place. So that could be a fantastic selling point for a commercial building that you guys may have listed.
Yeah, and we're always happy to sit at the table with you and your members. If we can help you get a deal done, let us know.
Okay. Awesome. That is super good to know, especially for our commercial people. What makes FPL and NextEra a great place to work? Let's talk about that, because most of our viewers and listeners are going to be FPL customers. And we've already spoken about your charitable work and the community involvement that you guys have, which is certainly appreciated. But what makes FPL so great? I want to hear it from you direct.
Yeah, I've been there 12 years now and have no plans to go anywhere. I hope if anyone at FPL is listening, I don't have to go anywhere else. But, it's an amazing company. And for all the reasons that you just mentioned, I love that we are a part of our communities. I love that we are very philanthropic. We do a lot of volunteering as a team, but we're really customer focused. And for me, as someone who's been in sales for a long time and development for a long time, I think when you're really thinking about your customers, you bring the right spirit to your daily work, because you're putting your customers' needs before anything else. And
I wholeheartedly agree.
That just makes it a great place to be. And so thanks for asking that question. It's always fun to answer.
Awesome. One more time, what is the cost of the service from installation to, right out the gate? We're going to call you and you're going to have somebody come out. They're going to take a look at what we currently have in the home, if we need to do any upgrades, or if the house is ready to go. So if we need to do some upgrades. So
this is the magical part. We don't even send anybody out.
Oh, really?
Because we know people are really busy and don't want to be sitting around waiting for somebody to come. So you go on fpl.com/EV and you sign up. And it's a 2-step process. And the second step in that process is that you go take some photos of your breaker panel and of your wall, and we talk you through how to do that. And then you upload those to our system. So we don't even have to send anybody out to do that research the first time. So the only time you're going to see us is when we've scheduled your install. But what's going to happen between the time you send those pictures to us and the time we show up with your charger in a truck to put it on your wall is that if we need to, if you don't have the 240 volt circuit in your garage already, we'll pull the permit for you.
Okay.
We will file all the required paperwork, and when that is issued, then we will show up and make any upgrades that you need and make sure that you are fully operational before we leave.
Okay.
The process takes 8 to 12 weeks if we need to pull a permit, depending on the locality. Okay. It's much quicker if we don't have to pull a permit, so if you've already got that. And then for your charger, that entire design process and all of your energy for the month off peak, it's $38 a month.
Wow. With no upfront cost.
With no upfront cost.
Wow. That is absolutely incredible. Okay. So I think we've covered all that. We know how to get started. We obviously know what the benefits are to selling a home that's already got an EV charger in it, or selling a home that does not have one, that we can now call FPL or go online and get this all set up. That's right. So that's going to make the house definitely more marketable, which is fantastic. And it's a great service that you guys are providing. So the only last question that I have before I let you go is, tell us about a little Florida gem that you love. We ask this of every person who's been on this podcast.
I love this question. And I struggle with it a little bit because I love the state. I moved here 14 years ago from my home state of Virginia and consider myself a Floridian now. I live in Martin County.
Okay.
And have since I moved. And one of my favorite places is Kai Kai Farm. Okay. So it is out west towards Indiantown. It's sort of between Palm City and Indiantown. It is a working farm and event space. And on Saturday mornings during season, you can show up and they have a wonderful green market, and people come from all over to buy chocolate and goat milk and teas and also lots of fresh produce. And you can even get chickens and eggs and, all kinds of wonderful things.
That is awesome.
But they also do special events through the year. So they'll have special chefs come and cook farm-to-table dinners on Monday nights. They have concerts. You can even get married out there if you want to. Okay. But it's a wonderful place to visit, take the family, and spend an evening.
That sounds awesome. I always love a good farmer's market.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. So happy that you were able to spend it with us this afternoon. Morning. And we will, if we have any questions, I will make sure that we have our people reach out to FPL and find out how we can get these chargers set up in our homes.
Thanks so much for this opportunity.
And thank you for all that you do. Awesome. Well, guys, we will see you right back next week, right here on RWorldTalk. Thank you so much.